Okay, let's just jump right in. Are you one of the UK's 1.4 million landlords? If you are, you really need to listen up. Because from this year, 2026, HMRC's net is closing in on undeclared rent like never before. The days of that extra income just flying under the radar, yeah, those are pretty much over. So today we're going to break down a fantastic guide put together by the experts over at Pro Tax Accountant. They're going to show us exactly how HMRC is finding this stuff and, more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So here's a quick look at what we're covering. We'll start with HMRC's powerful digital dragnet. Then we'll trace the unseen data trail they follow to find you. We'll look at what happens when that brown envelope drops through your letterbox. And then, the important part, we'll explore the official lifeline they've set up for landlords. We'll even walk through the process of coming clean and then wrap it all up with your next steps. All right, first up, HMRC's digital dragnet. Let's be real, HMRC isn't just relying on random checks or nosy neighbors anymore. Oh no, they've built this incredibly sophisticated system, and honestly, it's getting harder and harder to slip through. And I want to be crystal clear about what this means. If you're a landlord, that old idea of rental income being just a bit of cash in hand, something untraceable, that is now a seriously dangerous myth. HMRC has poured millions into technology with one goal in mind: finding every single pound of undeclared rent. And if you're wondering why they're so focused on this, well, this number explains everything. HMRC reckons that a jaw-dropping £550 million in tax goes unpaid by landlords every single year. I mean, when you're looking at a tax gap that huge, it's no surprise they've made landlords a top priority, right? It's no longer a case of if they'll find you, it's just a matter of when. So the brain behind this whole operation is a massive computer system they call Connect. The best way to picture it is as a kind of digital detective. It works 24/7, sifting through literally billions of pieces of data, from banks, from councils, from letting agents, to build this incredibly detailed financial picture of you. And if the rent money it sees coming in doesn't match what you've declared on your tax return, boom, an instant red flag goes up. And this chart really puts the scale of the issue into perspective for HMRC. You've got about 1.4 million landlords in the UK, but it's estimated that a massive 900,000 of them might have undeclared rental income. That's not just a small discrepancy, it's a huge target. And you can bet this is precisely the group that the Connect system is programmed to find. So the big question is, how does this Connect system actually pinpoint you? Well, it follows a data trail, a trail that, honestly, you might not even know you're leaving behind. Let's follow the breadcrumbs. Connect pulls its information from everywhere. Those tenancy deposit schemes you have to use? Yep, they report your landlord details directly to HMRC. Your letting agent? They are now legally required to hand over data on all the rents they collect for you. Then you've got public records like the Land Registry, which confirms you own the property. And get this, they even scan rental ads on websites and social media. Every single one of these is another piece of the puzzle, leading right back to your front door. And that point about letting agents is so critical, it's worth saying again. This isn't something they can choose to do. They face massive fines if they don't comply. So they have absolutely zero reason to cover for a landlord. They have to report your details fully and accurately. So hiding behind an agent, that's just not an option anymore. And here's a quick pro tip from the team at Pro Tax Accountant, which shows just how easy this has become for HMRC. They know that a tenant's deposit is usually about 4 or 5 weeks' rent, right? So just by looking at the deposit amount you lodged with a scheme, they can make a pretty darn accurate guess at your entire annual rental income. One little piece of data can uncover a whole year of undeclared tax. It's really that straightforward for them. Okay, so this is where the digital search suddenly becomes very, very real. Once the Connect system flags a discrepancy, the next step is often a letter. Let's talk about that heart-stopping brown envelope moment. HMRC usually kicks things off with something they call a nudge letter. So let's paint a picture. Imagine Ben, a freelance graphic designer living in London. He rents out his spare room, thinks of it as a bit of extra cash, and doesn't declare it. Then one morning, a letter from HMRC arrives. It doesn't accuse him of anything. It just politely asks him to confirm some details about a property he owns. That, right there, is a nudge letter. It's HMRC's way of saying, hey, we know about this property and we've noticed you haven't told us about it. Now, the crucial thing to get here is that a nudge letter is not a formal investigation. Well, not yet anyway. Think of it as a final warning shot. It's your window of opportunity. usually 30 days, to get your affairs in order. And believe me, ignoring it is the absolute worst thing you can do, because what comes next is almost guaranteed to be a full, formal, and much more stressful investigation. But getting that letter doesn't have to be a complete disaster. Stay with me here, because this next part is so important. HMRC has actually created a very clear path forward. It's a lifeline designed specifically for landlords who know they need to come clean. And this slide really shows you the night and day difference in outcomes. If you go to them voluntarily through their official Let Property campaign, the penalties are way lower. You'll typically only need to pay back tax for up to 6 years, not a potential 20. You avoid the risk of being publicly named and shamed, and this is a big one, you stay in control of the process. But if you wait for them to start a formal investigation first, all those advantages just disappear. So we've seen there's a lifeline, but how does it actually work? Well, the good news is it's a very structured process. It's not as scary as it sounds. Let's walk through the steps together. It really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you notify HMRC that you want to make a disclosure. They'll give you a unique reference number. Second, you get a 90-day window to work everything out. All the undeclared income, less any allowable expenses, plus the tax, interest, and any penalties. And third, you submit your disclosure, make a formal offer, and pay what you owe to settle up. Here's another fantastic tip from the experts at Pro Tax Accountant. What if you actually made a loss on your rental property one year? You should still think about declaring it. Why on earth would you do that? Well, because those losses can often be carried forward to reduce the tax you pay on profits in future years. So being fully transparent can actually save you money down the line. Now, let's pull all of this together. Okay, so we've seen how HMRC finds people and the official way you can sort things out. So what are the key takeaways here? What are your next steps? Let's quickly recap the most important points. 1. HMRC's Connect system makes getting caught almost inevitable. 2. That nudge letter is your final warning. 3. The Let Property campaign is designed to give you the best possible outcome. 4. Coming forward yourself is always going to be less stressful and less expensive than being investigated. And finally, number 5. This stuff can get complicated, and getting professional advice is the smartest way to make sure you get it right. And that really brings us to the final, most important question of all. After hearing all of this, can you honestly say with 100% certainty that your rental tax affairs are completely in order? If there is any doubt in your mind at all, the safest thing you can do is speak to an expert. The whole disclosure process can be a minefield, and getting it right is so important. The specialists at Pro Tax Accountant handle these cases day in, day out. They can manage the entire thing for you, from the calculations to the final submission, giving you total peace of mind. You can reach out to them for a completely confidential, no-obligation chat using the details you see on the screen. And for more really useful guides on UK tax, do make sure you subscribe to the Pro Tax Accountant YouTube channel. And just before we finish, the usual disclaimer. Please remember that the information in this presentation is for general guidance only. It's not professional tax advice. Tax law is incredibly complex and it changes. So before you take any action, you must consult with a qualified expert like the fantastic team at Pro Tax Accountant.